years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's my co-host, Cambry Nelson and Hutch Bailey Jr. Right now, I am getting ready to bring on my little sister. For those of you that watched the rally tonight, she was out there before Mayor Giuliani. That's right, she was the pretty one. But she was out there before Mayor Giuliani in Ohio, before Donald Trump came on, and she was also, well, I don't know if I can say she was Miss Ohio. I mean, she really basically still is Miss Ohio, I think. Well, I'll ask her in just a second. But I call her my little sister. She's also with the Washington Times. She is, and as a matter of fact, I've been seeing her a lot or hearing her a lot on radio stations and stuff like that. I'm talking about my sister, Madison Gesiotto. What's up?
So great to be with you. Just
How are
got back
you?
from the rally.
You know what? I was wondering if you were gonna stay at the arena and take the call. I was like,
So we had an earlier rally in the Columbus area,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was there, got out of there, and now they're down at the Cincinnati rally, and I didn't go down there because I wanted to be on with you guys tonight.
Oh, ain't that sweet? I told you, get my little sister. I have my host. I have my co-hosts on, Cambry Nelson and Hutch Bailey Jr.
Guys, how are you?
Good evening. Thanks for coming on the show.
Madison,
Always happy to be with you.
Madison, from the last time you were on a couple of weeks ago, I don't think the beauty Miss Universe had come out, right? She came out after you were on. Is that right?
No, it was right about the same day I came on that started to explode.
Okay, all right. Now, you were okay. Now, clear this up. Once you have it,
Sure.
you are always Miss Ohio, right?
So now I'm considered to be, I guess, a former Miss Ohio USA. I competed in Miss USA in 2014. Now, obviously, there was 2015, 2016 after me, but I'll always have the title of being one of the Miss Ohio USAs.
Okay.
Obviously, there's only one every year. So.
Okay. Now, my question to you, because the octopus lady came out, that that thing came out, but then there was somebody else, Miss Utah, or what was her name? Miss somebody that was actually there was another one there was a person that came out and said that Mr. Trump walked into the thing and she felt so vulnerable and they all had to go. I mean, what is up with these people coming out like this 24 days out? Are they, I mean, do you think it might be a fame issue or what?
It's definitely very interesting timing. And of course, I can only speak to my own experiences, but being at Miss USA for, the whole 16 days that I was there back in 2014 and the few days that Donald Trump was there with us, he was never near the dressing room. There was never any unwanted encounters with any girls I spoke with, obviously not with me. Complete gentleman, completely respectful. I had absolutely no issues. He, like I've said before in many appearances talking about Mr. Trump, he actually inspired me to continue to reach for my goals and dreams, to think big, to never give up. Since then, I'm started law school. I'm going to graduate in May. I'm a small business owner. I'm a Washington Times columnist. He is someone who's really put women up on a pedestal within the Miss USA system, a lot of the women I've spoken to, and really, just inspired them to reach for their goals. And I think I'm a perfect example of that. And I've never had any of these other experiences we've been hearing about, 25 days out from the election.
I have a question, because you're really, I try to put myself in your shoes. You're really stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you want to come out and say, hey, you know what, this could be for fame. You've had all this time to say something, but then also it's kind of like you still have to maintain that statute, that reputation to be able to represent that. What do you do now that you're going into politics and you're going into law? Do you have to separate being the pageant and respecting everybody else in the pageant so you don't get looked down upon? Or do you go just with the politics side of yourself to say, hey, you know what? I'm not here for, tissue paper feelings, as Wayne says. I'm here to speak the truth. And this is, don't use your crown as a way to be able to come in and attack Donald Trump because you didn't use this then. So how are you separating the two by being respectful but yet also wanting to speak the truth?
It's definitely difficult, and I see where so many girls struggle with this. But for me, it's always about speaking the truth. And if someone does come out and claims to be sexually assaulted, as Hillary Clinton said in her tweet, they deserve to be believed. But guess what? The media, we're not the police. So the criminal justice system is where that's meant to be placed. So for someone to come out in the media, CNN cannot investigate sexual assaults. And so if there really was a sexual assault, whether that be from Donald Trump or Bill Clinton or whoever that be from, I would treat every one of those women equally. But from what it seems like, there's been no proven, by courts or by law, instances of sexual assault from Donald Trump. And there have been proven instances of sexual assault from Bill Clinton. And so I think it's very difficult. And that's where we start to see the selective moral outrage coming from the left versus the very, I would argue, fair moral outrage that comes from the right. Just as, so many women were somewhat outraged by Donald Trump's comments in the leaked audio from 10 years ago. I don't think these comments represent him as a person, but they weren't nice comments. At the end of the day, they are what they are, but I'm not going to treat him differently than anyone else. And at the end of the day, his comments do not amount to anything near what Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's actions have amounted to.
Right.
Now, Madison, you recently obviously came out and explained your relationship with Donald Trump, and I was looking a little bit on Twitter, and some of the vile tweets that came back at you were just we speak of this hypocrisy. They're all in these tweets. I mean, some of these things were just disgusting. But what a lot of people might not know is in your journalistic career, you penned a column, a pro-life column, and actually got death threats. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, so it was actually just about a year ago. It was end of October of last year, and so almost at a year. And they actually came from fellow law students at my school.
What?
And what was so sad about it, so I wrote the column. It was a pro-life column. Obviously, my weekly column in the Washington Times is an opinion column, which is very well known as an opinion column. I'm Catholic. I'm pro-life. That's no secret. If anything, I would argue that this was one of my least opinionated columns. All of a sudden, I started receiving negative feedback on Facebook, which escalated to what was at first a very ambiguous threat. At that point, it was not a per se a direct physical threat. I get a little worried. I noticed it was someone from the law school. I go to the law school to meet with the dean, who obviously had been planning this meeting, which I did not realize at the time. They had 3 deans in there waiting for me. They had my article printed out. They had things of mine printed out. And they proceeded for about an hour, as I was visibly very upset, to kind of pressure me almost to disassociate with the school, to tell me how this could harm my legal career. Absolute nightmare, which then escalated to students posting, we agree that safety shouldn't be first priority at the school. Education's first priority, not safety. Of course, I say, how can you learn when you're dead? Then this escalated to more threats, also coming from other law students.
Wow.
Ended up having to go to the police because the school did not do anything.
Wow. I did not know that, little sis. You should have called on me. I would have been out there in a heartbeat.
Thank you.
Listen, the WikiLeaks, the document drops are almost like Festivus. I mean, they're coming out every day for the last few days. You write with the Washington Times. You write some articles over there. What are your top 3 damning WikiLeaks right now that should be hurting Hillary Clinton?
I think, honestly, every single one of these should be hurting Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
But the problem is the mainstream media is not covering them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as if calling us and so many other Trump supporters deplorables was not bad enough. They're insulting Catholics in the WikiLeaks. As you know, I'm a Catholic, so I'm very insulted by this. There's just so much in there. Why is the mainstream media not talking about it? Instead, the mainstream media continues to attack Trump. On top of that, I think there was something in the WikiLeaks yesterday or 2 days ago maybe released where they're showing basically her campaign working with mainstream media outlets, journalists.
Right.
She's getting the questions in advance. She's telling them what they need to ask her. That's not appropriate. That's not journalism.
Well, you know what? I saw a couple of interviews with Brianna Keeler on CNN. They hit their internet, and she was interviewing Kellyanne Conway and Dr. Ben Carson. And thanks to WikiLeaks, her name was included in one of those journalists' meet and greets on a Friday afternoon. Her name was there, And it seemed like everybody whose name was on that list, including George Stephanopoulos and the rest of them, they were going to attend. Some might have to leave, but they were all supposed to attend. So I know that she was probably there. But the way that they are going after Kellyanne Conway and Ben Carson and the rest of the surrogates on CNN, I don't know. I mean, I know CNN is big in, for them, for the media and whatnot. I just don't know why the Trump surrogates or supporters go on there, especially when CNN is just known and they're looking to make our people look bad.
You know what? And I'll tell you right now, because I actually just made the decision after getting a request tonight. I will be making my first appearance on CNN tomorrow on the 11 o'clock in the morning hour.
With who? With who?
With the 11 o'clock show. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember who the two hosts are.
Brooke Bolden, probably? Watch out for her.
It's Bolden and Bolden, yes.
Yeah.
And basically, here's was my thought process, and maybe this is where you're going with that question too. There's so many people that will only watch CNN in this country, whether they're younger voters, older voters. Some of them may be undecided voters, right? Mm-hmm. That's the important group of people we need to be reaching out to. Right. They're not going to see me on my Fox appearances. They're not going to be watching my speech at the rally. And so if I can just reach out to 1, 2, 5, 10 voters, mm-hmm. that's worth it to me. Yes, most likely they're going to attack me tomorrow. They're going to come at me hard, but I know I am voting for Trump, and I can tell you 1,000 reasons why. I can sit with them from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. and talk about it. Right. So hopefully that'll kind of be able to show through the interview, and I'll be able to redirect back to the important policies and the important reasons why Trump needs to be the next president of the United States.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You don't look. When you have to, you pivot. When you don't want to, pivot, because they are not going to allow you to get your voice across. I mean, look, you go in there like the fighter I know you are, and you take care of business, and then come out smiling like you usually do. But I mean, I know that they are venom. They are venom. That network. Half of the major people have blocked me already because when you ask some questions, you ask some questions like, well, why do you do that? Megyn Kelly even blocked me for. She was complaining about people on Fox not asking the questions like she does. And I'm like, well, if you didn't invite people that hate Donald Trump all the time on your show, then, things would be different. But and then she blocked me right when I said that. But no, wow. Hey, girl, I'm praying for you when you go on there because Brooke Baldwin, she will try to cut you off. Believe that.
Plus, they'll bring Mikado
I'm ready.
Up and
I'm ready
else.
for her. I'm ready for her, Wayne.
Yeah, take her out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't mean take her out. Just.
Of course.
Okay. All right. So, how can people contact you on social media and follow you on social media?
Of course, they can find me on pretty much any outlet at Madison Gesiotto. Last name is spelled Gesiotto, and I hope they'll follow me and continue to help us support Trump as we get into November, which will be here before we know it.
So we're going to be talking to you in a couple of weeks as we get closer to the election. Maybe you have some updates and different things for us, okay?
Absolutely. I'll be here.
Okay, beautiful. Talk to you in a little bit.
Thanks.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Madison Gesiotto and Mr. James O'Keefe. And thank Mr. Joe Seals. Mr. Joe Seals woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning and told me, if you don't get James O'Keefe, you're dead. So I got James O'Keefe. So I'm living another life. I'm living for another day.